Yes, what did I learn from $25,000 with John Asseroff? A lot. He basically gave me, in his words, a master's degree of business in a day. And that might sound crazy or impossible to some people, but if you know what I'm talking about or what John was referring to, you know that it's possible. Where are you spending your time? Are you really focused on money-making activities? And are they activities that can be outsourced for $10 or $20 an hour? Because most people are busy, but they're not effective. And the distinction that I would say in my own words is you're busy doing a bunch of crap.
Thanks so much for being on here today, Mark, my good friend, my good mentor. I just wanted to share with everyone, Mark's incredible view on personal branding. Like I said, he's been he's been mentoring me probably for about a year now. I've been in his community.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from Mark, and it's just, we wanted to get more out to you guys. And like I said, there's no one better in the earth and planet, in my estimation, than Mark when it comes to personal branding. Some other people can try, but like I said, they just kind of pale in comparison. So thanks so much for being on here today.
Thanks, brother. Glad to be on here, and we'll bring it down for everybody who's tuned in.
We'll bring it in, you bet. Well, we talked about it a little bit already. We talked about mentorship, right? And you've had the ability to be mentored by like people like Ed Milet, Dennis Yu, Grant Cardone, right?
Yeah.
Many people, even like John Asseroff, and you even spent $25,000 for a day to spend with him. So what was your biggest takeaway from that day session, and why is mentorship so important?
Yeah, man, I was just reading a book this morning, and it was from one of my mentors, Jay Abraham. And, one of the best things people can do is have mentors from books. I think that if you don't have $25,000 to invest for somebody, or even a couple $1,000s, some of my best mentors I've never met, and I call them my mentors. And they've just been people I've read books on, and that some of them are dead, but their legacy and their advice and their wisdom lives on forever through books. And so, first, I just want to say that because I know that when we start the conversation about who I am today and how much I'm able to now be in a position where I can invest, I know most people listening, they're going to get more value out of, well, what do I do if I don't have money to invest in mentors? And the truth is, to this day, I still read books. And you can see, if they're watching, I've got, 1,000 books on the bookshelf behind me that I've read. And I think that's the best place to start. And it's the best place to continue going forever, is books. You never stop reading books. I don't remember the exact stat, I'm sure it varies, but it was basically saying like the most successful people on the planet, the most successful Fortune 500 CEOs, which was one of the things that I was reading in my book this morning, said they study 2 to 3 hours a day reading books. So they're actually spending 20% of their time learning new information, and then 80% of their time is more on implementation, high-level strategy, and getting people to do the tasks in the hierarchy of the organizational chart. So learning and high-level strategy is where successful people spend their time, which is interesting for you to think about, because most people who don't have the finances that they want, they spend very little amount of time studying. And if they are studying, then they might be studying the wrong information, or they might be studying information, but they might not be applying information, right? That's the thing. So what I've realized is the best mentors can be in books. And then when you have the knowledge of what you need to do, then you need to take massive action. But sometimes what happens is you take action, you get results, you stop studying. And I've found that it's the repetition of always studying, always learning, and going back to the basics. So, yes, what did I learn from $25,000 with John Asseroff? A lot. He basically gave me, in his words, a master's degree of business in a day. And that might sound crazy or impossible to some people, but if you know what I'm talking about or what John was referring to, you know that it's possible. He was able to condense down the most important things that I needed for my business. Now, did it work? Well, I went from I hired John way back in the beginning. I hired John in the very beginning, the first year of my business. And so my business in the first year, I think did $80,000 the first year, which, by the way, I had an employee and taxes and expenses. So I made basically nothing when you really look at the numbers, right? It's not what you make, it's what you keep.
That's right.
And after investing $25,000 for a mentor, which was insane, I really didn't actually make very much. I barely got by my first year. But what it taught me, because now we do 8 figures. So it's obviously in the last 7 years, it's paid off because I've still used the advice that he taught me back then today. And really what he taught me was sales is one of the most important things and marketing is one of the most important things. And so he said, you're in the beginning stages of your business. You don't need to know about all the other stuff that's going to be important down the road. You need to know about how to get sales or else you're going to be out of business and back at a 9-to-5 job. So for you listening right now, if you don't have the income you want, if you're not having the growth that you want, you've got to be focused just on sales. Forget all the other stuff, all the other things that you could be doing, and maybe you should be, but should you be doing them now or should you be doing them later? That's the distinction to make. And so, as you know, because you're in our community, I'm always grinding people. I'm like, where are you spending your time? Are you really focused on money-making activities? And are they activities that can be outsourced for $10 or $20 an hour? Because most people are busy, but they're not effective. And the distinction that I would say in my own words is you're busy doing a bunch of crap. You're doing low income activities, things that you and I could both sit down and write a list of how you spend your day, and we could highlight everything that's a $10 or $20 or $30 an hour activity someone else can do. We can pay someone to do basically everything that you're probably doing. Responding to emails, there's too many stupid things. Even on the sales calls, like, yes, that's probably a great place for you to spend your time, but even that should be outsourced because you need to be focused on growing your company. And so for me, the biggest thing John taught me from that investment was everything you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed needs to be focused on generating income for your business, because when you have cash flow, you can then pay more people to do more things. When you have cash flow, you can invest in branding and advertising and marketing. You can hire people. And so cash flow cures all. And so for me, that was the biggest thing. It wasn't some new growth hack. It wasn't some fancy, complex sales funnel. It was just figure out the top 3 activities that bring in the most money. It's probably generating leads and converting those leads, and then finding partners and other things to help bring more leads in so you can convert more leads. And then obviously the next scenario is you need to fulfill and you need to make sure you're getting great results, because that creates word of mouth, which brings more sales back in. That creates case studies and social proof and testimonies, and that brings more sales and leads back in. So that was the biggest thing for me, bro, was, most people are struggling with money. And then I asked them, how much time every day are they learning about how to make money, learning about how to generate sales, finding people to help them make sales, whether that's partners or an employee or whoever or affiliates. And so biggest thing you need to be doing if you're not making the money you want, sales. Even the biggest companies in the world, their focus is on sales. And there's a lot to that, right? As part of the sales process, you need to have great customer service, you need to have a great product, but that's the biggest thing that I learned from John. And the importance of mentors is they help you focus on what matters. That's probably the biggest thing that I can say about a mentor is they help you focus on what matters. Yes, you're going to learn new things, but sometimes you don't need to learn new things. Sometimes you need to do what you already know, stop learning the new fancy things, and just have a mentor say, no, you need to just do this one thing. And you're like, oh, thank God, because I thought I needed to do these 19 things I was reading about online that made that person successful. And now which one do I do? No, you just do that one thing. And that one thing, by the way, is not going to pay off tomorrow. It's probably not going to pay off in a week. But that one thing repeated over and over and over again for multiple years, that's going to make you successful. And so it's not the backwards double Dino under the leg slam dunk. It's the consistent free throw shot, the consistent layup shot. That's what makes you the best in the world. And I think it was John Wooden, the basketball coach, right? He was like, I don't care how good you are, how fancy you are, what kind of slam dunks you can do or 3-pointers. I'm going to make you do 1,000 layups, 1,000 free throws, and all the other basic shots. Because if you master the basics, that's how you win the game. And so for me, I was like, to me, that's what a great mentor does. They remind you of what you're supposed to be doing consistently.
So many valuable tidbits right there, right to knock it off, right? Like we talked right away is about turning around and doing the most important things and learning in your business. Well, not many people turn and take the time. Dennis, you, one of our mentors, which we mentioned, talked about learning, doing, and teaching and how we should spend our time accordingly.
Yeah.
Right. So if you break your day into those three categories, how much time do you actually spend in the first one, which is amazing. And I love the basketball analogy as well. I think of Dwayne Casey and the Raptors, and he brought in a big boulder into the middle of the dressing room, and he's talked about being a rocksmith and every day hammering the rock, and eventually that rock is going to break. And look what happened last year. Even without him, they eventually won the championship, right?
Yeah.
So consistency does pay off over and over and over again, right?
Yep.
Love
Amen,
it.
brother.
You bet. Working with celebrities like A-Rod, Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, right? How do these people leverage their personal brands? And in what way or one way is the average guy or gal be able to duplicate and get the same technique?
So first, you got to remember that these people at one point were just regular guys in high school going through the same crap that we were going through, or even back to the beginning as a child. Like if you look up Alex Rodriguez's biography and a lot of the other celebrities that I work with, from Ed Milet to Jordan Belfort, Manny Koshman, worth like hundreds of millions of dollars. All of the guys I just named are worth like hundreds of millions of dollars in personal net worth. And they pretty much all had humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one thing, what oftentimes happens in society is we look at where somebody is today and we compare that to where we are today. And there's a huge gap oftentimes. And then it creates these stories about why they did it, why we haven't, and the comparison. And you start to have all these different narratives about your beliefs around success and who they are. And, you know, I'll digress from there. But what I've realized is you want to go back to the beginning and say, oh, wait a minute. They were just a child who grew up. And if I study their biography, and they weren't just silver spoon fed with, you know, money and resources and parents, which by the way, sometimes actually makes you into what I would consider less successful person by my definition, because you're not going to learn to be resourceful. You're probably going to have different values. You're probably going to have less gratitude. Most of the people that I know who've been given everything oftentimes are not the kind of people I want to be around, because we just share different values. I've worked really hard for the life that I've created. I came from very humble beginnings. So when I see somebody who oftentimes was given everything, they didn't have to work for it, they don't usually share similar values. Maybe you can understand what I'm saying. And so what I've also seen too is sometimes the people and the companies that are given all the resources, one might say too much resources, they fail. How does the company with $1 billion go bankrupt? How does the person who was given all the best education and money and resources and parents and everything that could be given, how do they turn into a drug addict who fails and is in and out of rehab? What? Well, without getting into the reasons why, I found that it's the guy in the garage who started with nothing who's forced to become resourceful. Like they say, right? Pressure creates diamonds, not a beautiful environment. That doesn't create diamonds. Pressure creates diamonds. And so I found that being resourceful, having to be resourceful, you have no other choice. If you want to make it, you've got to be resourceful, which is why I started my beginning answer off was, most of you listening probably need to be resourceful like I did when I got started. And the best thing you can do is get books or go on YouTube, which is free. You have access to the internet. You can watch people's stuff online. So, first off, remember that most celebrities, they started off regular just like you and I. And then you can start to understand that there must have been something they did to become successful. And then when you start to recognize it, you can start to see that there's a similar pattern and a formula. They worked hard. They had discipline. They had mentors and coaches. They got in at the right time. There is an element of luck in there because maybe they met somebody or they got drafted or someone ahead of them got hurt and they got there's an element of luck. But the old saying, right? Preparation and opportunity.
Absolutely.
Preparation and opportunity, where those two meet. You're prepared because you do the work every freaking day. And when the opportunity comes up, the phone call happens, you're ready. So that to me is luck. I've had a lot of scenarios I could point to in my life where I said, I did the work relentlessly, 5,000 hours, 6,000 hours. Then the phone call came, the email came, the connection came. I was ready. And here I am. So I think there is that element to it. But when you go back and like some people today say, oh, Mark, you're so lucky. And I'm like, man, I was the dumb kid. If you met me in high school, you'd be like, that guy's going to end up in jail. That guy's going to end up doing drugs. That guy's going to end up not being successful. And if he doesn't end up down that bad of a path, he's just going to end up being the guy serving me a Starbucks drink. Maybe he'll be the manager of a Chick-fil-A. But you wouldn't expect me to be a multi-millionaire in my 20s, and I just turned 30. So how does that type of a disconnect happen? Because if you just look at who I am today or the celebrity clients that we talked about, where they are today is 10, 20, 30 years of work. So you can't just say, well, how does these celebrity, you got to look at it from the beginning and be like, what did they do to get there? That's the real question, right? What did they do to get there? And at what point can I go back to where they're exactly where I was right now?
Absolutely.
Where can I take Ed Milet and reverse his life from 50 all the way back to whether it was 28 or whether it was 21 or whether it was 17, where Ed Milet was exactly like me.
Taking cold showers on the beach.
You know what I'm saying? Like where was Ed Milet when he was just eating his ketchup sandwiches, or Mark Cuban, the billionaire, when he was eating ketchup sandwiches and top ramen every single day, grinding just back in college, and now he's a billionaire. So I don't like to compare myself to where they are today. I like to reverse engineer to say, at what point in their life were they just like me? And then when I realized that all these billionaires and celebrities at one point were just like me and you, that's when I get inspired, because I say, holy crap, there must be a formula. Not where I am today and they're a billionaire and they're a celebrity. At what point in their life were they just like me? And at the very end of the day, I can go right back to when we were all just babies. At one point, we were all just babies and we had no clue. We had no clue what we were doing. Maybe we were 2 years old or 3 years, but at some point we were all the same. We were just humans. And if we weren't given the silver spoon and all these opportunities, which by the way, we already said, usually doesn't actually create a better life. Sometimes it messes you up. So I like to look at it from that perspective. And for me, dude, you know, there's a formula. There's a formula for a great body, great energy, great mental capacity, great emotional intelligence, communication, relationships, wealth, business, marketing, sales. There's a formula. There's patterns. We don't have time to cover all of that on this call, but it's in books. Why do you think I'm obsessed with books? Yes. It's in there. The most successful people who would charge you an insane amount of money for their time, they also wrote it in their book. So start there. And then as you get to the point where you can just write the check for their time and actually just get the information faster and custom made for your situation, get it in the books. I still hit the books every single day. I say an hour a day will pave the way, because that's really the truth. It just takes 1 hour a day to change your life, but it's going to take 5 or 10 years to really change to the degree where you're like, you look back in 5 or 10 years and you're like me, I'm at year 7. From the time that I became obsessed, I've been studying, probably obsessively studying for about 12 years. So I guess but I'm in business for 7. And either one of those, 7 years ago when I started my business or 12 years ago when I started studying, man, I could look back and be like, how far I've come in every single area of my life. Amazing. And that's the same thing for you. You could probably look back and say, hopefully, man, 5 years ago, my life, I'm in a much better place now. Absolutely. And if you haven't already been investing or learning and acquiring more information, all I can tell you is there's a formula and there's a pattern for almost any outcome that you want. And I've learned that from having celebrity clients. And here's the other thing. Now that I'm working with them and I'm meeting them, they're just regular people. Like I'm breaking bread and having lunch and dinner and drinking wine with some people and smoking cigars and just having a good time. And I'm like, and telling stories you never get to hear. And you're like, you're just a regular person. After an hour of drinking wine, you got to go take a piss too. You're just a regular person. You're just like, there's nothing special. Like you just have the formula. You work hard. And sometimes they have the formula for success and their thing. And there's a lot of other areas in their life they suck at. Just like me. There's a lot of areas in my life I suck at. But I am so incredibly good, one of the best in the world, at this tiny vertical that I chose to become obsessed in, or I've read 500 books just on this vertical. And then the other things I try to make sure I'm pretty good at, but I don't care that I'm not good at basketball. I don't care that I'm not good at cooking, because I never took the time to read 500 books and put in 10,000 hours on that vertical. So I think it's important to find balance, but it's important to remember there's a formula. And if you become obsessed with learning the formula, I truly in my heart believe you can accomplish anything you want, but you just probably haven't been obsessed with saying, this is the thing I want to learn the formula from. I'm going to read every book, every article, every mentor, every program on that vertical until I master it. You can have anything you want. It's that simple.
Absolutely love it, dude. It was fire right from the get-go. And so many people don't believe that they're genius at anything, right? But every single person has genius within them, right? What Mark's good at is not what I'm good at. What I'm good at is not what Mark's good at, right? Yeah. So you need to find what your strength is and double down on it. And we've been able to do that. Mark's been able to do that, right? And
amen.
Just been so thankful for that, right? And so thankful that I found the computer, right? And I just happened to find affiliate marketing, right? So why is affiliate marketing so powerful, and why is it a good place for someone to get their feet wet?
Great question, dude. I think when you look at the landscape of all the ways you can make money online, there's a big list, and it can be overwhelming. Which one do I choose? Where do I go? That's going to come down to your values, your lifestyle, your vision, how you want your income to be made. I love, which is weird because I'm a natural introvert, and I hated speaking in school, and I was terrified, and I was the dumb kid, so I'd never have the audacity to teach anybody anything. And ironically, here I am in the space I'm in. But man, I love teaching. So for me, a lot of my focus is on education. I believe education changes the world, and it's kind of like first order effects, second order effects, third order effects. I think if we change the first domino and we make people smarter, more emotionally fit, better communication, learn how to deal with the things going on in our external reality, with being smarter, having better, internal dialogues with ourselves, lower the depression rate, lower the anxiety rate, lower the stress rate, and just bring more love and consciousness up. As cliche as it might sound, I believe that that's going to help change the world. Not giving people fish, teaching people how to fish, from like the adage from the Bible, right? Like, I want to teach people how to fish, not give them fish. Now, the big government wants to just give people fish and keep control over us. I want to change that. I want people to learn how to fish so they don't need the government. They don't need other people. They don't need a job. They can become self-sufficient because they have the knowledge. So that's my belief. So I like to make my money by educating people, which first means I have to educate myself and prove that it works, then teach people with small case study groups, validate that it works with others, then teach it to the masses. And that's where I'm at now. But there's affiliate marketing. Find products and services, but that could be education, that could be health and wellness, that could be that are in alignment with your values. If you like health and wellness, there's so many, network marketing, affiliate marketing companies that have health and wellness products that you can believe in, that vibe with your values and what you believe in and what you want to accomplish and how you want to serve the world. They've already got the business and the product and the team and the reputation. You can step into that, and hopefully they also give you a playbook for sales and marketing, and boom, then you build your personal brand as I teach, and you're off to the races. Then there's e-commerce, drop shipping. There's so many ways to make money. E-commerce and drop shipping is really for the person who wants to not be on camera, not talk to people, be behind a computer screen selling products and services. And that's another way to do it. So, dude, there's just so many fun ways to make money, but I would say those are some of the best. And then at the end of the day, you can broker and facilitate transactions with zero education, zero money out of pocket, zero anything. Just go on LinkedIn and Facebook and go to networking events or Facebook groups. Find a buyer and find a seller and connect them. Like, I find somebody needs a funnel built, or somebody needs a website built, or somebody needs videographer stuff, or someone needs social media management. And I don't do those things, just hypothetically. So I'll connect people. I need it. They offer it, and I connect people to businesses all the time. And I take a broker fee, 10%, 20%. And just like when somebody buys or sells a home, there's a mortgage broker, a realtor. Someone's getting the money on the sale, on the refinance. It's called a broker. Insurance broker, healthcare broker, mortgage broker. investment broker. There's all these people just don't realize you can broker anything on, and you make a transaction on the spread. So if you help a buyer and a seller connect, you can get a piece. I do it all day long in business. Hey, you need help building your website? I know 5 web guys. Let me connect you to all 5. If you work with one, they're going to pay me commission out of the profit. They're not building it in. It's just out of their profit, just like they'd pay for marketing or salespeople. So it's really cool, man. There's so many ways to make money, and affiliate marketing is one of the ways that I think if you don't start there, I think it should come full circle, and you should add that into your repertoire of how you make money, because at the end of the day, I don't consider myself front leading an affiliate marketer, but it's in my business model and it makes me millions of dollars. So affiliate marketing at the end of the day is phenomenal. People need things, and if you position yourself as a trusted resource in your industry, people are going to come to you. They're going to want you to say, hey, Sheldon, who's great at building websites? Do you know anybody? And you should say, oh yeah, I've actually got 2 of the best people in the game. Let me connect you. You shouldn't say, no, I don't do website development. Sorry. You should say, no, let me build my arsenal of connections. So I know personally, if anybody comes to me and they need anything on the internet, I have a great connection for you. And that's a powerful place to be.
Absolutely, right? That's very powerful. Just like it's, and I know we're getting to the top of the hour here, so I just got 2 quick questions here for you, and then we'll get you going as well. Talking about, powerful and place to be, what's the most powerful way to get your message in front of millions of people? Maybe AKA a banana.
He references a banana because I did a funny video. It's actually an advertisement of mine where I say, how much would your life change or your business change or your income grow if you could reach 100,000 people a day? That's 300,000. That's 3 million a month, 36 million a year. Which 100,000 a day adds up to 36 million a year. I said, your life would change completely. And so I said, let me show you how easy it is to get 100,000 people to watch you. And I film a video of a banana on my smartphone. I say, hey, you got one of these? You got a smartphone? Here's all you got to do. Film a video. I'm going to do it of a banana. So you can't say that there's any way that you couldn't do this, because if I can do it with a banana, you can do it. So really, you're going to film a video of yourself providing education, entertainment, something you're going to put on the internet. And I do it with the banana. I upload it on Facebook. You can do it on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube. And the way that these platforms work is you can pay them to advertise, to run ads, but you can also pay them to show anything you want that's compliant with the policies. So that means you can promote an interview, you can promote your video, you can promote your recipe, you can promote your photo, you can promote anything. And I promoted a banana. I got it 113,000 views in one day, which proves the point. You can get 100,000 views in a day. I did it on a banana. You can do it for yourself. And all it is you film videos that solve problems. People go on the internet because they have a problem, whether they know it or not. You're bored. You're itching yourself. You're like, I'm so bored right now. You may not consciously think that, but you reach for your phone 2,600 times a day is the average stat of the average person in the world. They touch their phone 2,600 times a day. They touch it, which just means, it brings you peace. So there's a problem. And the problem is, you're bored. The problem is you need to be entertained. The problem is you're looking for an answer. So you're going on YouTube, you're looking for an answer. You're going on Google looking for an answer. You're going on Facebook to kill time, to see who's watched your videos, who's commented, who's messaged you back, or just because you want to kill time scrolling on the newsfeed of TikTok or Instagram. And so educate people and entertain people with content. Build your brand, build your audience, and then it's going to be a lot easier to sell. I always say I'd rather have a hungry audience that I can sell to than to have a product that I need to find hungry audiences to buy. So I like to start with your audience, build your audience first. Don't go and get a product first, because what does everybody with a product come to me begging me help for? Mark, please, I need help with customers. I need an audience. So guess what? Starting with a product clearly is the wrong approach. Start by building an audience and get them to be hungry. Get them to know, like, and trust you. And then it's like having a pond full of hungry fish. You just drop a hook in and they bite.
Absolutely. And you kind of like nailed the last question here as well that I'm going to hop right into. You talk about the 3 keys of every business transaction being know, like, and trust. So how do you get the average person or the business owner to get more people to trust you?
You can read all the books that I've read about how to get people to trust you through sales and marketing, communication, and effective influence and neurolinguistic programming and all the stuff I've read. But at the end of the day, it's just easier if you get people to know you at scale. So like Oprah Winfrey, she doesn't do or probably even know much about neurolinguistic programming and marketing and influence and sales funnels and tripwires and exit pops and countdown timers and all the marketing tactics that try to influence people to take action or any of that stuff. She just has 1 billion people know her. So law of averages, you and I probably have 10, 20, 100, maybe 1,000 people that know, like, and trust us, right? And the number of trust is much smaller than the number of people that know us or like us. And so Oprah just has 1 billion people know her. So she obviously is going to have way more people like her and trust her, just pure numbers. So like if I got 1 million people to know who you are in the next week, because they saw your video every single day, like you're basically going viral. They're going to be, who's this guy? Every celebrity's talking about you. Every news outlet's talking about you. Instantly, millions of people are going to know you. I guarantee within 30 days, you're going to make a lot more money just because for the first time in your life, 1 million or 2 million people know who you are. And that's going to have trickle down of now maybe 1,000 or 2 or 3 or 4,000 people trust you enough to make a phone call with you, to buy your product with you. And it's just law of averages. You know, if you get way more people to know you, it's going to trickle down. You're going to get way more people to trust you enough to buy what you recommend or what you sell. And that's my belief that I've tested. I've reached over 300 million people on the internet, maybe 320 million now. And that's what I've been able to track on my computer, on my spreadsheets. That's what I see in my dashboards. So it's way more than that realistically. Like I won't know who saw this. And I do, you know, I've done thousands of interviews. So I won't even, it's maybe 500 million realistically. But I can see in my dashboards over 300 million people have seen my face on the internet. And so, you know, and I've made a lot of money. So the formula works. And I think the biggest reason you don't have the success you want is not enough people outside of the other conversations, mentors, coaches, discipline, consistency.
Right. Yeah.
It's also not enough people know you exist, because I also know the dumbest people who've gone viral and have so many followers and they do dumb things and they do prank videos and they're not very educated and there's nothing really about them why they should have so many followers or make money, but they entertain people. And the world we live in loves entertainment. And just purely from having entertainment videos that reach millions of people, you get millions of followers, and companies will pay you to get access to those followers. And so, yeah, man, it's a weird world we live in, but there's more opportunity now than ever before. Never before has your great grandpa or grandma been able to pull a device out of their pocket and use it to either waste time or become a multimillionaire and change change your family and your life forever. We have a device in our pocket that allows us to reach the world, a device in our pocket that allows us to monetize and build an audience. And I truly believe this is the best time to live in the whole world. Even though we're living in crazy times right now, there's still more opportunity than ever to create the life you want and really have the money that you want too, from anywhere in the world. It's never been better. It truly isn't.
Absolutely, right? It's not who you know, it's who knows you, right? Ultimately, Amen. At the end of the day.
Yep.
Perfect, my man. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for going overtime with the
man.
Well, where can we find you, Mark?
Simple. Social media, look up my name, Mark Lack, or go to shortenthegap.com, shortenthegap.com.
Fantastic. Guys, go check him out. You will not regret it. I guarantee it.
Thanks, brother.
Everyone, cheers.